All right, now we back. Reach Over Culture podcast. It is Roc, coming to you like I do every Reach Over Culture podcast. Welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, man, I want to give you a big, you know what I mean? If you tune in back in after being out for a while, I'm going to also give you, you know what I mean? Cheers. If you are interested, by the end of this video, by the end of this pod, of being a part of the Reach Over Culture podcast, sponsoring, you know, hitting us up in any type of way, make sure you hit us up at Reach Over Culture on Instagram at Reach Over Culture, or email us at reachoverculture@gmail.com. I got my main man with me, my main man, you heard me? Babyface Killer, Young Moses.
What's up? Yes, sir.
You dig it? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, dude.
You alright?
Yes, sir.
How you feeling, man?
Good.
How's the week been? Good?
Good.
Solid?
Yeah, a little slow.
A little slow?
Weather's a little moody, but
it is moody.
But
it's hoodie season.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Not that I really stopped, though. You was pulling up in like 90-degree weather with the hoodie on, G. No, yeah, shout out to you and your convictions. Stuck to your convictions. Yeah.
If it got a little chilly, I'm like, you know what? It's time to wear a hoodie.
Yeah. Now is the time, man. And shout out to fall. Fall is here. It means winter is coming. I don't watch. Have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
Mm-mm.
All right, we finally have a common ground where we have not seen anything.
Yes.
I don't know nothing about no Game of Thrones, but winter is coming. Fall is here. All right, let's start off with our first segment, man. For the brothers up north, getting full on that Jack Mac. This is Cappuccino, by the way. First pod back, we got another brother to backsmith. All right, man. So for the brothers up north is where we shine a spotlight on a company that we might have gotten hip to, a product, something. There's anything that we want to give a spotlight to here on the Reach Over Culture podcast. We do not get paid for this promotion, but if you would like your stuff promoted on the Reach Over Culture podcast during the For the Brothers Up North segment, make sure you go and you hit us up at Reach Over Culture or reachoverculture@gmail.com. I'll go first. Today is Thursday. We're recording this on a Thursday. Tonight, none other than our brothers up north. To know him as I love him, MC to MC, owner, founder of Town Apparel, will be dropping some stuff tonight. You heard? Whoa. So by the time that this drops, if shirts are still available, and I think they got a couple other things on the merch. If you in Tulsa and you know about Town Apparel, man, make sure you follow them, townapparel.co on Instagram. They have a website. They got that whole shebang. We're going to put it in the bio. You've seen us shout it out before. But shout out to my man's MC and the whole team over there at Town Apparel. You heard? They dropping new stuff tonight. About time. Moses, you got somebody for the Brothers Up North segment?
I was going to say Evan.
You already
Evan,
said?
Yeah, I know. I already said Evan, but
yeah.
I can't think of anybody else.
You ain't got nobody? No new products, no nothing?
No, actually, no.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Nah, you mentioned that the Yin Yang Twins was at the State Fair.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Yin Yang Twins.
Yin Yang
for being at the State Shout out to the Yin Yang Twins for being at the State Fair, you heard?
They still put in work.
Still putting in work, you dig it? All right, back to the future segment. Here we tell the audience about something that we might have experienced in the past week, something we seen, something we got hip to, or something that we're looking forward to. Back to the future segment. My last episode, I told you, we got a movie. They had a movie coming out, Sopranos prequel, Many Saints of Newark. Fire, by the way. Hold on. Fire! Fire. Listen, if you are a fan of The Sopranos and you have not seen this movie yet, it is available on HBO Max or wherever you go see movies in theaters. I watched it on HBO Max in the comfort of my own home, and I can tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I've seen it about once or twice, and I'm still going ahead and rewatching all The Sopranos, by the way. It was a great movie, dog. Like, his son did an amazing job. But I like that his son wasn't necessarily the focus of the movie. the origins of Tony Soprano wasn't necessarily the focus of the movie. And I'm not gonna spoil the movie if anybody hasn't seen it, but the way that they tied everything together, the way that they humanized and gave you the younger versions of a lot of characters that you're gonna see in the Sopranos series, it made a lot of stuff make a lot more sense. And it is one of those movies where you don't have to know what goes on in the Sopranos prior to watching the movie. Like, you don't have to watch the Sopranos show to enjoy this movie. Now, I will say they do spoil some stuff in the movie, so it is safer for you to watch the Sopranos show before watching the movie. If you don't care about spoilers. But if you care about spoilers, then you're going to know some of the stuff that happens in the show, some of the biggest moments that happen in the show, by watching the movie. So beware. But the movie was absolutely positively fire. I'll give a more in-depth spoiler review on the Reach Over Culture channel. But for the sake of the people that haven't watched it yet, fire movie. I think out of 5 stars, I gave it a solid 3.7, 3.8.
Okay.
5 stars, a solid 3.8. You heard?
Yeah.
Also, if you don't mind, I gotta get this quick recap. I went to go see the off-season tour in Dallas this past week. J. Cole, Jermaine Cole, the off-season killer. We off in it. 95 South. Amari. Back to the topic, freestyle. I have to say, man, job well done to Jermaine Cole, man. That concert, I had fun. Now, we in Dallas. They on a back-to-back. All right? He had the concert in Dallas on Monday. He had just had a concert in Houston on the Sunday prior. So I was a little worried. Back-to-back concerts, you traveling. You know, J. Cole is already a rapper's rapper. He's not entertaining. He ain't gonna get up there and dance. He ain't gonna get up there and, you know, he don't got a lot of pop hits where you can just, where, you know, the girls are gonna go shake whatever, do whatever, right? It isn't a Drizzy concert, all right? This is when we talk about Cole, when we talk about Drake, when we talk about Kendrick, this is what we get to talking about right here. Drake is probably the most versatile artist out of all of them, because he got pop hits, rap hits, singing hits. He got whatever you need. Kendrick is, you know, the more thought-provoking and more technical and just the more woke of them all, right? If there was a Pac, Biggie, Jay-Z situation, Kendrick would be the Pac of it, right? Drake would be the Drizzy of it. And Cole, in my opinion, would be the Biggie of this. Or you can put Drake in the Biggie situation, because Biggie had a lot of R&B hits as well, and put Cole more in the Jay-Z. You know what? Let me switch that. Drake would be more like the Biggie in the situation, and Jay would be more like the Cole would be more like the, because you listen to a lot of Jay's early albums and stuff, which I have. A lot more raps than pop hits. So going into the concert, I know for me being a rappers fan, I said, well, I'm going to enjoy the concert as a whole, because I'm about the raps.
Yeah. And
Cole is about the raps. I was more or less interested in the people that I was going with and everybody else's energy in the stadium. Now, the stadium was packed. It was packed. Now, they playing at the American Airlines Center. This is where the Mavs play. That thing was packed, you heard? I got a telly around the corner. In downtown Dallas. So I was probably like no more than 10 minutes walking distance from the stadium. I go there, I get to the hotel, I get right, throw my little fit on. Nothing crazy. I ain't trying to get chose. But I was yep, right. Right. It's October, it's my season, right. And so we get in there, it's packed to the brim. I ain't gonna lie, I saw like 6 people I knew from the town there. Yeah. I didn't speak to them, I had my mask on. No need. Let's get to the raps. Now, 21 and Moray was opening up for Cole. I miss Moray. I don't even think 21 Savage had an opening act, because the concert started at 8. I got there at 9:05. Cole was on by 9:15. So either 21 had a very, very, very short set, or he just was a part of the show, but not necessarily having his own set on the show, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna spoil it because, you know, his videos out there on YouTube and anything, man. I get up there. I don't know if you're familiar with the social media guy, Drewski.
Yep.
So he opened it up for him doing like a whole comedy bit. Hilarious. This guy's hilarious, right? He do his thing, right? And then, you know, of course, he do, you ready for J. Cole? Lights go down. J. Cole has a running theme in this show. It's a running Sports Center theme. So instead of using the Sports Center logo, of course, it was the off-season tour logo. But just like you would watch Sports Center, dun, 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 dun. All right, here we have J. Cole, 6 whatever, boom, 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 boom. And they show him getting warmed up in the locker room. He rapping the song off the album as he's walking. So, you know, they recorded it but it made it seem like he was on his way to the stage and he rapping. You know, he's just getting ready. You know what I'm saying? They show highlights of him when he was playing in Africa, all that stuff. You know, he's making a parody of what we all knew to be true, which is you shouldn't have been out there in the first place. But whatever. You shouldn't have been out there playing no basketball. You should have been here focused on the raps. And you did, because you dropped the album or whatever. So, you know, punching the clock, you know, cause insanity, Habitat for Humanity, right? Lights go dark, boom. Everybody going crazy. I'm sitting there like, oh, this about to be fire. The flaming hoop go up. I don't know if you've seen the cover of his album. It's him, and then he's standing, and he got the flaming hoop behind him. The flaming hoop go up.
Ooh.
It's flaming. It's really on fire. But that described the show, the album. It was fire. He get out. All I hear is dun, 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 and then I hear killer. Let's keep it tall. You ain't listen. And then Cole get up there. He get the rap 95 South, and then he going to Omari, and then he just going and going and going and going and going. He just rap after rap after rap after rap after rap. And then he paused for a second. He's like, man, thank y'all for me. This show, you know, I just want y'all to focus on the bars. And I said, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the bars. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You heard me? Like, I'm here for the bars. You know, I get it because they had some women in there that was dolled up. It was pretty. But y'all didn't come here for a cold. Y'all just came to get outside. I came here for the raps. And I'm telling you, it was packed in there. He had buys. And then 21 came out. He ain't had no dances. He ain't really want no super effects or nothing like that. It was just straight up about the bars. And he moved around great. You could tell he was a little tired off the back-to-back. But more than anything, man, he rapping every leg. I'm rapping every leg. He go down this long list of his hits from his underground joints from like 9-10 years ago. Stuff that if I played you right now, I've never heard that. And you can definitely understand who was a Cole fan in that concert and who wasn't, because by the time he got into his Friday Nights Like bag, which was one of his premier mixtapes from way back, Moses, I'm talking 2010, right? I'm talking about you hadn't even hit puberty yet.
I think
right?
the first J. Cole album I heard was the Sideline Story, I think, or was it?
Okay. So that was his first album.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights was a mixtape prior to that out, right? Sideline Story probably came out 2011.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights came out 2010, right? So you weren't too far behind. But Friday Night Lights is what put him on the road to Sideline Story. Friday Night Lights got the Back to the Topic freestyle the whole bit, all right? That's where I fell in love with J. Cole in 2010. And again, you wasn't even puberty. You haven't even puberty yet, right? You ain't even hit your 2010. No. I was just coming out of puberty. I know you hadn't hit puberty yet. Because 23, right?
Yeah.
23, right? 23, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's 11 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Do the math. You was 12. You was still watching Phineas and Ferb when Cole was spitting them raps. When Cole was spitting them raps, you still watching Phineas and Ferb and SpongeBob and all this, that, and the third when Cole was spitting them raps. You heard? And Cole got up there, man, and he spit them raps, my boy. But you can definitely tell who was a Cole fan and who wasn't a Cole fan as far as from way back in the G. Because when he started going down that B-side, that list of B-side joints, you had some people in there that was like, I don't know this one. But here I am sitting there, Jermaine, Jermaine rapping every word to every song. He ended the concert great. When 21 came out, I went crazy because I'm a 21 fan. Mm-hmm. They did a lot. They did my life. Fire concert. I had a great time, right? But don't get it messed up. It did make me hesitant about being in large gatherings, right? Because COVID is real. And COVID was in the building, like Fat Joe said. COVID was in the... Don't get it fucked up. COVID was in the building that night. I was masked up for as best as I can be. I was masked up for as best as I can be. I couldn't help myself. Certain songs, I could not rap with the mask on. The mask had to come off. Yeah. Right? My voice had to be heard. You understand? Uh-huh. Certain songs, I just couldn't do the mask. Certain songs I had the mask on, no problem. I'm just in there jamming. You know what I'm saying? Certain songs as the raps had to be had. Shout out to J. Cole, man, for putting on a hell of a show. For a rapper who doesn't have a lot of pop hits, again, like a Drake or a Kendrick or somebody like that, Cole put on a very entertaining concert for those who's into the raps and who's not in the raps. Yeah. That's so. Back to the Future segment. Oh, also, because the last episode we gave all these. The Wilder Deontay, the Wilder Fury fight. I know you got some thoughts on that. Yeah. Also, wait, you said it's one of the greatest fights of all time.
No, not all time. The year.
Of the year.
Yeah.
Now I ain't even gonna ask you what other fights you've seen this year, but I'm not. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that to you because I texted you that yesterday and you never actually answered my question. You just said you watch boxing, but so I'm gonna let you off the hook with that because I know you ain't got no other fight that's comparable or that you've seen that you could say, oh well, nah, I actually seen that and I know you ain't got it, but I will say you're not all the way off because a lot of people are calling it fight of the year thus far. How'd you like the fight?
I think it was really good. I was very surprised how it played out because I thought it was going to end really soon. Right. But
who'd you have winning the fight prior?
Like what do you mean?
Before the fight. Like who'd you have going into the fight?
Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. Okay.
Tyson. Yeah.
You voted Tyson on our poll.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I knew he was going to win because I know Deontay. He gets really fatigued. He's not much of a distance fighter because all of his fights have been ended by knockouts.
Okay. Yeah,
and by like the fourth, I think about the fourth round, Deontay Wilder was just so fatigued. Like he looked like he was out. He could barely throw them punches. Yeah. But. Oh, man, because there was like 5 knockdowns by each.
Yeah, 5 knockdowns in between both guys.
Yeah, 2 Fury and 3 by.
No, 2 by Wilder, 3 by Fury.
Yeah.
3 by Fury.
Yeah.
2 by Wilder, 3 by Fury.
See, I used to be a big boxing head, like way back in. Like,
you got to get back into it and stop waiting for Ryan Garcia to have a fight.
I know. I've watched
Canelo fight next month. You gonna watch that?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So I've seen a lot of boxing like back in my day. So. When I saw this fight, I was like, oh, okay, this has to be a good candidate for the fight of the year. Right. It was just amazing. Like each round was just action packed, and then to top it off, like Deontay Wilder just gets straight KO'd, slumped to the ground, and I was like, oh man, that was worth the pay-per-view. That was worth the money.
It was one of those. Shout out to everybody that's played Mortal Kombat. It was one of Oh, yes, absolutely factual. And of course, I'll be talking about it more on the Uncredible Sources. But yes, I was excited about this fight. I'm just happy that the fight happened. First of all, shout out to both of them. Hell of a fight. Yeah. Hell of a fight. Shout out to Deontay, man.
He's got heart.
You know, I did my own scorecard. I had Deontay coming out blazing. Deontay came out blazing. He throwing the jab to the body. You can tell this is stuff that he worked on in training. And I had him actually outboxing Fury in that first round. And then Fury, in my opinion, came back, won the second round. And then Fury got the knockdown in the third round. And when he got the knockdown in the third round, I was like, here we go again. Because by that third round, to your point, that third, fourth round, just looked like Deontay was gassed. Now, mind you, Deontay came into this fight 238, the heaviest he's ever came into a fight. And it wasn't fat. It was all muscle, right? And so I kind of noticed that throughout the fight, he looked uncomfortable with all the extra muscle weight, you know, because he just didn't look as athletic, so he looked a lot more stiff. And, you know, he tried to control the fight in the middle of the ring. He didn't let Tyson lean on him. He didn't let Tyson get away with some of the stuff that he got away with in the second fight. And so I had to give Deontay that. It's just, I don't know if he was necessarily prepared, to your point, conditioned to fight with all that extra weight and go the distance. I think in Deontay's mind, to your point, he thought, oh, man, I'm trying to get this dude out of here quick. Tyson Fury caught him in third, knocked him down, and this is what made the fight. You know, as tired as he looked in that fourth, that's where he got the 2 knockdowns on Fury. And then I was like, oh! I said, no way! I said, Deontay! Mind you, I was pulling for Deontay. Even though I didn't like how he handled that second loss, I was pulling for Deontay. Smart money was on Fury, all right? You couldn't ask me to bet money on Deontay. The smart money was on Fury. But then after Deontay got the, you know, knockdown the fourth, Fury won every round. You could just tell he was gassed. Fury was picking him apart, until he got a knockdown, round 10, right? And then by round 11, it was just a matter of time. Shoot, whip, beat, out of there. And like literally when he knocked him out in that, because that knockout was so clean. Oh my God. All I thought was, it looked like him, because Deontay like, pow, and then like limp and slump.
Yep.
Nah, I get it. You know, respect to the fighters, because you know you want to go out on your shield, and we ain't gonna take too much more time, because I have a sports podcast for that. So shout out to Deontay, but boy, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of laughing. Like, I don't know if you ever seen Friday.
Oh yeah,
remember Friday when Debo knocked out Red? That's immediately what I thought of. That's my bike, punk. Like that's what I thought of. Deontay went tumbling, and it is only ironic because Deontay was number one knock against Fury. It was that he didn't have knockout power, and the dude ended up knocking you out, knocking you smooth out. The same dude you said you ain't got no punching power, you punch like a hoe and all this, that, and third. That boy knocked you smooth out. And as far as for the game of boxing, as far as for the boxing landscape, honestly, I'm not excited for what's to move forward. I told MC that Deontay is the best thing for heavyweight boxing, because if Fury wins, then there's nobody else in the landscape that people think can beat Fury at this point. If Deontay wins, then it opens up competition. You know what I mean? But if Fury wins, it just looks like, oh, well, he's just going to reign for another 5 years. Yeah,
he's going to be next Klitschko.
Pretty much. He beat Klitschko.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy thing. He ended, his
10-year run.
Yep.
So, shout out to Tyson Fury, though. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to maybe this weekend?
Boxing?
No, Back to the Future segment. Is there anything you're looking forward to in general? Maverick
City is going to be here this Friday. Maverick City. It's going to be praises.
Praises to the Most High, you heard?
Yes, sir. I'm going to get their front row seat. I'm going to try to touch Chandler.
Shout out to Chandler Moore, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I was thinking about something. And, we talked about... Oh, also, another movie that I'm looking forward to seeing, but it actually launches this weekend, is Halloween Kills. The Halloween Kills movie is Michael Myers. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
All right. So they got a new movie.
They do?
They do. I don't make that face. The last one was kind of fire. No. Don't make that face. Don't make that face. So this one is like the sequel to the last one that came out a couple of years ago, and it was supposed to come out last year, but of course with COVID and stuff, they didn't think they could make the money back in theaters, but it's actually releasing. I still got to see that James Bond movie too. I got a lot of movie reviews to do. I still got to see Venom. I got to see James Bond. I'm going to see all that this weekend, whatever. By the time this comes out, skip that whole last 10 seconds of what I just said. All debts will be paid by the time this episode comes out. But I was thinking with the new Halloween movie, I was thinking about, it's Halloween, it's October. We think about fear, right? We talk about fear, and I just want to talk about a couple of things before we get out of here for this episode. Fear is a real thing. There's phobias for damn near everything. Phobia for heights, phobia for spiders, phobia for toe fungus. Don't quote me, go look it up. It's out there. I didn't make it up. But fear is like a real thing. A lot of millennials struggle with fear of success, fear of failure, right? Asking you, Moses, like, we all deal with fear in some form or facet. First let me ask you, is fear a good thing in your opinion?
Yes.
Why is fear a good thing?
It's something that pushes you. It's like fire pushing you. It's like that thing poking you forward. Like somebody behind you with like, a stick or a sword or something just poking you. Yeah. If you go backwards, it's not good. Yeah.
I would agree. I think healthy fear is a good thing. Mm-hmm. It keeps you humble, keeps you on your toes. Even talking about Deontay and Tyson, there's a famous boxing trainer named Teddy Atlas, who constantly speaks on fear and the fact that every great fighter needs some source of fear going into the ring, because it keeps them on edge, it keeps them aware, and it keeps them guarded against the things that might catch the prideful ones off guard. You don't think you need to put your left guard up until you get caught with a Canelo right hook. You don't think that you need to guard the body until you get a broken rib. Fear is healthy. Is a lot of times healthy in the right frame of mind. And I even think about fear being a good thing because it fear God. The fear of God. What Proverbs say?
Fear of the Lord is something about knowledge.
Fear the Lord. It's like the source of knowledge.
Yeah, it's the first thing. If it's the first thing about being wise or something like that. Yeah. Understanding
that you have a being higher than yourself, and I found this across all religions that I've not dabbled into, but I've looked at. Whether it be Buddha or Hinduism or whatever. It's the fear of understanding that there is an afterlife, and that is something that is greater than yourself, that controls a lot of what you're going through and a lot of what happens around you. And so when I think about the fear of God, very healthy fear to have, right? Mm-hmm. You look at the dynamics of good people and bad people. You can usually tell who's a good and who's a bad person by the way that they fear what happens to them in the afterlife. Somebody who doesn't mind robbing, stealing, killing, raping, doing all of these heinous things to human beings, that knowing that these leave scars on human beings. You take a life, somebody has to go to a funeral, remember that day. You rape a woman, she has to live with that for the rest of her life. You molest a child or abuse a child, is that and the third. When people can commit these very, very heinous evil acts, you can obviously tell that they have little to no reverence or fear of God. Versus good people, I have not done a lot of stuff to a lot of people because of my fear of God. Right? The flesh, my fleshly nature, a lot of our fleshly natures don't care about what other people are going through. You got to get what you need to get when you need to get it. Mm-hmm. Right? A lot of my brothers, like a lot of people in our culture, in our community specifically, the Latino, Hispanic, Black communities we commit a lot of the most crimes, right?
Yeah.
We got cousins, we got family members that don't have that fear of God, so they don't care about the consequences that come on the other side, and not in this life, but the life after, right? And so fear of God is a good thing. You need fear. It keeps you with a balanced mindset in some form of fashion. A good amount of fear. There is a bad amount of fear, but a good amount of fear for anything greater than yourself, I feel like is a good thing. It keeps you accountable. Mm-hmm. You understand? Now, how do you cope with fear? Like when the fear translates from being a healthy amount to treading in that unhealthy space where you're afraid to move or you're afraid to do something that you have full capability to do. How do you cope with that?
Man, I would say just to go all in. Mm-hmm. I mean, fear. Okay, so like fear is good, But I mean, when you mean like cope with it, it's like
how do you handle it? How do you handle it?
I just shut it down
when the situation arises.
Because like sometimes I'm terrified to talk to people.
Right.
Like there's some like I'm learning this and at work, and it's real easy to talk to young people, but like when it talks to another generation or another culture that I'm not really familiar with, and I go talk to them, like I get fear. I'm like, gosh, I just don't know how to find common ground.
Right.
And I just say, you know what, this is how I'm gonna learn.
Right.
I just do it.
Right. So throwing yourself in the fire.
Basically.
Throwing yourself in the pool.
You have to push your own self, because if nobody else is gonna, I like that. There's nobody else that's gonna push you unless you do it. Mm-hmm. Like there's nobody who's gonna change your life unless you do it. Nobody can put you in the gym and lift your arms with you. That's something that you got to do by yourself. Like right. There's just some things in this world that you got to decide that you're going to do it.
Right. And I like that. Because you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a grown-up answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
That sounds like a very adult answer.
Yes.
Because you're absolutely right. Social media, millennials, different people, success and what success looks like, it's protruded in a lot of different ways. These days, right? And the number one thing that a lot of these successful entrepreneurs, people in corporate, whatever, basketball players, whatever, is that they all say that they had to overcome a certain amount of fear. Mm-hmm. And to your point, throw themselves in the fire, right? Sometimes you do have to throw yourself in the fire. I handle it the same way. But I did not learn that until into my early to mid 20s. Mm-hmm. About throwing myself in the fire, right? Knowing that I'm responsible for how I handle myself and how I get myself out of the fire, how I get through. Throwing myself in the pool, throwing myself in the deep end, understanding that I got to teach myself how to swim in this moment. It's either, drip or drown right now, right?
Drown or swim.
I did not learn that until my early to mid 20s. Till I started taking some risks, moved to Dallas, did an internship out there, started a podcast, quit my job, become a full-time entrepreneur, walking through the fire, understanding that the worst that can happen is that you start back at square one.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about dangerous situations. I'm not talking about situations that is either here or death. Like, I'm not talking about the military or anything like that. I'm talking about dreams, aspirations, goals that God has placed on your heart, creativity, different gifts that He's put inside of you that you just might want to explore. Because every gift isn't made for you to just dabble in, I believe. Mm-hmm. God gives us a many of the gifts. That doesn't mean that every single one of them has to be utilized, or that God wants to utilize every single one of them. That's tough for me to kind of digest, because there's a lot of them, mm-hmm. right? And there's not that much time in the day. But for those who are just kind of trying to find themselves and looking for that thing that they feel like on the inside of them is, maybe it is starting a podcast. Maybe your podcast is never successful, right? Which is fair. Maybe it's horrible, absolutely trash, right? But it wasn't about the content of the podcast. More or less, it was about you starting something and maybe finding another avenue out of it, right? But if you had too much fear to start and throw yourself in the deep end and put yourself out there in the fire, you don't know if you can come out unburned. Now, so some situations you are gonna come out burned. Some situations you are gonna need somebody to throw you a little lifeguard at the end of the pool, a little buoy. Come on, bring it back. You ain't ready for the 10-foot yet. Come back. 5, 6. I had a near drowning experience as a child, right? Haven't jumped in the pool since then. Not gonna cat with you.
That's my biggest fear too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not gonna cat with you. But guess what? I'm about to turn 29. Before I turn 30 next year, I am gonna learn how to swim. So this isn't something that we telling y'all to do and we not actually living out in real life. You talking to a guy who as a kid had no fear swimming, had one near drowning experience and didn't want to touch pools after that, right? But by 30, I'm telling you, I'm going to throw myself in the deep end of the pool, and I am coming out the next Aquaman. You heard? Like, I'm coming out the next Aquaman. I'm already in the deep end of the pool.
The next Michael Phelps.
Come on, bro. Me and him the same height. I might challenge him to a race by 30. You heard me? But yeah, I've learned to cope with fear by, like Moses said, throwing myself in the fire. Now, mind you, this is going to go to our next episode about choosing battles wisely. Not every fire is meant for you to throw yourself in. Some of them shit, you're just going to get burned, and you asked to get burned. But some things you're actually made to withstand and withhold, and you can't do that if you never even throw yourself out there in the first place. That's how I cope with it. That's how I overcome it. I just do it, right? Moses, even share your experience doing this podcast. A little bit of the fear and stuff that you've had doing this. What encourages you to keep coming back and getting on the microphone?
Because I want to grow. I want to improve. It's hard. You know, back in high school, I did not speak a word. Like, I was that kid with a hood on and taking zeros, right, like, on every assignment. Like, right. I didn't talk to nobody. Right. Like, nobody even knew what I sounded like, or like. And then when I talk to people, you know, when people see you talk, like, oh, you know, you talk like, oh, I always thought you were quiet.
This podcast,
yes,
yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I want to change. I don't want to be like this, because one of my biggest core fears is I'm afraid to be the same person for the rest of my life. That is just my core fear.
That's a bomb.
You know, I was just like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for 20 years. I don't want to have the same character traits or have the same personality for the rest of my life. You know, right. I want to challenge myself and keep pushing. But I did have big fears. I mean, I had fears of people criticizing what I would say, or me sounding dumb, or just the way I talk. It can be like my English isn't. I mean, English is my first language, but I don't know how to speak properly sometimes. Right. And there's some words I just can't flow as easily as you can. That's just another thing. And I'm here because I want to grow and I want to improve. And I feel like I do have some input into this. Yeah.
And you were, and even this episode, bro, is a level of growth. Right? You on your way, right? Even as this episode and this podcast continues to grow, if we continue to do this, you come in here with less and less fear every time. Yeah. Right? And it takes that. Same, bro. From episode 1, we on episode 73 at this point. From episode 1, anxiety out the wazoo. It's a little easier now, 73 episodes a couple years later, but it takes time to get there. But them first 50, 60 was like, oh, God. I'm so trash. I suck at this. Yeah. Same, bro. It's like, oh, Raheem, you starting a podcast? We don't even hear you talk.
Hey guys, Raheem here.
Bro, Raheem starting a podcast. What does he talk about? Right? And you know, if you know me, to know me is to know me. You know I talk. But at the same time, a lot of people just tuned into this at the very, very beginning just to hear what I would say, because they just hadn't heard me talk that much before. They see me in the background, they see me in different spaces and areas, but they just didn't think I was capable of this, right? Because I don't really do short talk. I don't hang out with everybody, and I'm not in the forefront. Whereas you think in the podcast, you think a super extroverted person would be behind this microphone. I'm not. I'm super introverted. I'm outside, but I'm inside. Ooh. I'm outside, but I'm inside. Don't think I don't know what's going on outside. I know what's going on outside. And it's spooky outside. I understand what's going on outside, but I be inside though. So, with that being said, let's see. Isaiah 41:10. This is the prophet Isaiah speaking. Of course, he's speaking to Israel at the time. That Judah and Israel was at war. This is shortly before the New Testament. And he's speaking to Israel. He says, "Fear not, for I am." He's speaking to Israel on behalf of God. It says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. If that didn't stand the test of time that day, it definitely stands the test of time today. Listen, if you're still living, breathing, seeing, 2 hands, 2 feet, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes, all your functions, everything that you have going, he's held you upright with his righteous hand. You know, at the end of the day, we're souls and shells, and as long as you're still able to walk around in this shell that you in, he's upheld you with your righteous hand. And if you got some scars along the way, it's because he's upheld you. Mm-hmm. Again, if you've been in some fires, whether it's self-inflicted or things you couldn't avoid, you might come out with some burns, but you came out. And that's all that ever matters at the end of the day, because you're not going to be in this shell forever. So we encourage you, man, to overcome any fears that you might have. You know, as long as it's righteous, as long as it's produced in love and positivity. If you feel something in your bones, go for it. That's what we promote on this podcast. What the culture doesn't promote. Culture promotes you to, you know, if it doesn't look like this person, stay in your lane. Nah. Right? Maybe it's not for you, but you'll never know if you don't try in the first place. Mm-hmm. Moses, you got any other words of encouragement, man, before we let them out of here?
Like you said, don't let fear hold you back onto things that, you know, maybe God has for you.
Yes, sir.
That's number one priority.